Now, in this video, we'll talk about problems with this analysis or shortcomings, and we'll talk about recommendation of how to improve the study. So let's talk about problems with this study. One of the problems is the fact that it's a small sample. It's only 20 out of 20,000. Maybe they need to improve the study by increasing the sample, maybe to 50 or 100, to allow for more accurate results. Also, you also need to talk about randomization. If this country is a Canadian country and it's all over Canada, so those 50 or 20, you can assume that they probably took them from one section. Maybe they only took them from Nova Scotia or from Ontario. They need to make it random, so take them from anywhere. So increased randomization would also lead to more accurate results. You also talk about, well, they're trying to see if there is a correlation between hours and sick leave. And more hours lead to less sick leaves. But maybe the people had some sick leaves for other reasons, not related to hours. So maybe there was a flu going on, like this corona thing that we're having. And it's like a lot of people missing work days because of that, and that's maybe affecting the answer, because you would think it's related to the hours of education, and it's not. Maybe there was some kind of a strike going on, and that's why people are leaving work or not working. So there could be other factors. So basically talk about there might be other factors affecting sick leaves other than hours of education. Maybe mention a few other factors you can add, and you can turn this into what's called multiple regression. So instead of trying to figure out sick leave from hours, you can maybe try and figure out sick leave from hours of education, strike or not, married or not, level of knowledge or not, whatever. You can add other factors if possible to make it a multiple regression to get again a more accurate result of what's going on. Because again, we said sick leave could be due to other factors, so only restricting this to one thing is not enough. The other recommendation that you could talk about is, or shortcoming recommendation, I like to combine both in the same thing. Now, they're trying to figure out or measure the performance of the company. That's the goal, is to figure out how we can measure the performance of the company. And they thought, well, less sick leaves will be an indication of performance. Well, performance, they can measure performance in another way. So why only focusing on the sick leave? Less sick leave, better performance. You can talk about education in terms of college degree. You can talk about performance in terms of years of experience of workers. You can measure performance, you can just say productivity, basically. Or maybe if they have salespeople, amount of sales for workers. So you can measure performance in many different ways other than just. So the two things that I wanted to talk about is how to improve this study And by increasing sample size, increasing randomization, look at the other factors affecting the system or affecting the sick leave in this case, turn it into a multiple regression, include other factors other than ours to improve the study. And also talk about measuring performance by doing another type of study. So you can say we will look at performance in terms of education or college degrees, years of experience, productivity, amount of sales. And they also mention about, they're also talking about competition. And this company is afraid of other companies globally are doing better than them. Look at what other companies are doing. So that's also going to help them understand why the other companies are doing better by looking at. So the more words you add to this, but again, more and less at the same time. You need to make it very precise. He's not looking for a lot of information. So other than the Excel and the graphs that you need to include in this report, altogether he's only looking for 2 pages, but I tried my best to help you. I think this is what the report in terms of technically and what you need to talk about. You don't need to include everything I talked about. If you see that a lot of what I said was too much, include pieces of it, not a lot of this, but for the technical part, try to include as much as possible. Again, you don't need to talk about everything. There's going to be 2 videos on Excel. Well, one explaining how to do the regression in Excel, and the other one how to do the scatter diagram in Excel. So there are 6 videos altogether, 4 talking about the report and 2 talking about how to do it in Excel. Again, if you need help with this or anything else, before I talk about this, there's also the bonus. I thought that the bonus would be questions where you need to answer them mathematically, so that's what I was hoping for. But he also wants you to write paragraphs or an essay. He wants you to talk about chi-square, ANOVA, and something else, I forgot what it is. And he wants you to talk about it in terms of what the test is, when would you use it, how good or effective it is, also ANOVA, what ANOVA is, when would you use it, types of ANOVA, what is it good for, and the same for the third thing. Basically, I think he's trying to help students to give them more points, so it's a bonus. I would just go to Google, type chi-square. This is how you write it, chi-square. And you're probably going to see a description of chi. And just put it in a rephrase whatever you see and put it in a paragraph. He's only looking at, I think, for 100 words per each one of them. So I think if you hand in anything, he'll give you the bonus mark. It's not that big of a deal. Just make sure that the things you need to talk about is what it is, when do you use it, and how effective it is. And again, briefly, you don't need to talk. I don't think he's even going to read it. As long as it looks nice and it looks like you actually put some effort in it, I think he'll give you the bonus point. Now, if you have any question with regard to this, you can text me. I'll give you my phone number. This is my cell number. You can text me. You can say what your question is. Show me a screenshot of your work or whatever. You want me to read something of what you wrote and tell you if I think it's good or bad. You can text me at this number and I should be able to help you. And good luck, everyone.